If you're a travel business owner who perhaps is working a second job in addition to your travel agency running on the side, you've probably discovered that there isn't enough hours in the day to do all of the things, and you're probably wishing for this magical strategy to get dropped into your business back end and take all of the hard yards out of it because obviously you're not in the office to make sure that your business is running and ticking along as it should. But what if I told you that there is actually a system that you can put in place that can actively grow your personal brand and in turn make you the authority inside of your travel niche and also build your email list full of perfectly aligned clientele? Yes, something like this does exist. And today's special guest, we're going to literally pull apart exactly how she arrived to this exact moment inside of her business, all the while working a full time job outside of the industry. Can't wait to share it with you. So let's dive in. Hey, I'm Steph, and I'm obsessed with all things travel, marketing, branding, and helping you stand out from the crowd. In just under 2 years, I went from being a home based travel agent with zero clue how to make it work in the digital world to launching an international ranking travel podcast and creating an online course to help travel agents in lead generation. Here's one thing I know for sure: there has never in the history of the world been a better time to create the travel business you've always wanted. All you need is an actionable strategy and someone to show you the way. Picture this: we're going to spend the next hour of our time together at the Swim Up Pool Bar, where over a cocktail, we deep dive into travel-related topics, mixed with a little classroom training. This show is dedicated to encouraging you to step outside of your comfort zone and into your travel business. I'll show you how I did it and how you can too. Hit subscribe now and let's get into it. If you're a travel agent wanting to onboard your perfect fit clients into your biz, download my free cheat sheet for lead generation systems you can use right now. Head to stephaniemyers.academy/cheat sheet. You're listening to Unplug in Paradise, the podcast. Hello and welcome back to another killer episode in season 3 of Unplug in Paradise. I'm your host, Steph, and as always, thank you so much for tuning in as we have an awesome conversation coming your way today. One that I absolutely love because we will be speaking to one of our students, Jade, who has spent the last 12 months with me and our travel agent community inside of our Travel Agent Runway program. And I must say, she has the most epic travel niche ever in the world. And Jade specializes in pop culture. I know, right? The coolest travel niche ever. So before we dive in and meet Jade, I want to paint a picture of what her background in travel looks like because she has traveled loads when she was a kid, and often this is the exact catalyst for people joining the travel industry. And it's because of these beautiful early experiences. And as Jade grew older, so did her love for the pop culture scene. And now she successfully has blended her passion in with her travel business and, yeah, has basically built her business around her passion for pop culture. So that's very, very cool. Jade realized early on that there was a really big disconnect between just being a regular travel agent, booking everything and anything, to someone who is an actual specialist in the pop culture arena. And now she gets to pride herself on being the number one pop culture travel specialist in Australia. And throughout her love of theme parks, huge roller coasters, and having attended numerous conventions and endless filming set tours, she now gets to share her passion and love and knowledge and expertise with clients to make their holidays as magical as possible. And I have to say, it's been an absolute pleasure working with Jade inside of our Travel Agent Runway program and just being a part of her story in the travel industry. But yes, we can rattle on all day. But without further ado, let's jump over and meet her. Before we begin today's episode, would you please join me while we recognise the generations of the local Aboriginal people of the Bundjalung Nation who have lived in and derived their physical and spiritual needs from the forests, rivers, lakes, and streams of this beautiful valley over thousands of years as the traditional owners and custodians of these lands. It's a pleasure to welcome today's special guest, who is one of our incredible students inside of our flagship online course, Travel Agent Runway, who has built her travel business during a pandemic and not in under desirable circumstances, which could probably be a pretty good excuse to not tick off the most incredible things that she's achieved in kickstarting her travel business and not putting in the man hours into completing all of the deep work necessary to creating her rockstar online personal brand, to creating and installing a lead generation system inside of her marketing strategy, and all of that while holding down a job, a full-time job outside of the travel industry. And what I find interesting mostly about this guest today is that she has created the most ultimate travel niche, and I absolutely love it, which is 100% aligned with her interest, passion, and all time love affair with pop culture. I know you will absolutely love this episode where we can dive into all of the things, but before we get stuck in, I would love to welcome Jade to the podcast. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's so great to have you on the show. And of course, it's an absolute pleasure to have you inside of the Travel Agent Runway community. Thank you for always putting in your 100% commitment. And, it's always so rewarding for me as your course captain, so to speak, to witness your growth and success inside of the program. So thank you for trusting me throughout that process.
Thank you.
Now, to start off, Jade, why don't you tell me a little bit about you, your travel business, and who is inside of your perfect audience?
So, I have worked in travel before now, just at a brick and mortar store. And I loved it then, but had to leave for various reasons. And we didn't obviously know that the pandemic was going to happen.
No.
But late 2019, I made the decision that I wanted to come back. But I wanted to do it my way and nobody else's. So I grew up in a family that really just loves to travel and loves experiences, especially when they're made together. So we traveled a lot. We played sports, so we traveled with that. And my grandparents just loved taking us away. So it's always been a part of my life.
Mhm.
And I wanted to bring that same sort of excitement and everything to other people's holidays that I could as much as I could.
Beautiful. I love that. I would love it if your grandparents are open to adopting possibly another great grandchild. So, can you ask them for me?
For sure, for sure. I'm
they
sure
can
they'd
take
love
me.
you.
They can take me traveling too.
100%.
Okay, so 12 months ago, things looked a hell of a lot different to what they look like today in regards to the C word. And, you being in Perth in WA, not being able to travel anywhere
Mhm.
interstate or internationally. Where were you inside of your business? And what were your thoughts around what your next move was? And I suppose, what was your catalyst behind enrolling into Travel Agent Runway to kickstart your business? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so, like, 12 months ago, we were already, 12 months in, and it was starting to get very I was starting to get very disconcerted in the whole kind of situation. I needed something to just get me back on track. I was doing a diploma in travel, and while that was kind of exciting, it wasn't, it's all the basics, and I really just needed the piece of paper. So I wanted something a little bit more exciting and kind of more tailored to what I needed. I didn't need the basics. I needed the sort of that was there that I could lean on, that I could ask questions of. I didn't have a team. I didn't have a manager to help me with that. I was finding it all on my own. So it was really out of a need for community, really, that I happened across Travel Agent Runway and signed up because it looked like exactly what I needed.
Oh, beautiful. And I think when you are working all by yourself, kind of realizes that they need. So I think COVID was something that's not needed to happen, but it gave us all that space and time to think about, okay, what is it that I actually need to implement in my business? So when things start kicking off, how can I hit the ground running? So I love that you shared that it hasn't been an easy process. It's been really, really hard.
It sure has.
Yeah. So I feel like the first challenge for you, Jade, like enrolling inside of the program, like you already had an established business. So you've created it in 2019 and Shadow Kiss Travel. You already had a niche, you already had a brand, you had a website. So all that you really needed was to build your audience of aligned clientele that speak clearly to your niche. So I suppose you're in a position where you were thinking, how do I come up with an offer that's jam-packed full of value and would be irresistible for people to want to download and become part of your ecosystem? And one that you can refine and refine over time, because as you grow your business grows. And a little bit of a side note, like this is something that definitely happens. And sometimes it happens for people like within the first 6 months or within the first 12 months they've decided to refine things. But you've got to make sure that your personal brand is something that's true to you. There's no point in building one or creating one if you aren't aligned with it yourself. But yeah, you just definitely don't wake up one day and have the whole branding thing entirely mapped out, right? So,
Exactly.
and now you're at a point where you've nailed your core content channel. So, did you want to share a little bit more about what it is that you do for digital marketing? So, you've got your Shadow Kiss Travel blog
hmm
that you're driving traffic to consistently. So, what has this entire process been like for you? What has been your biggest challenges?
Honestly, the biggest challenge is finding time around the full time job situation and really sort of working out what I think that people would want to read. Um, I've been focusing a lot on filming locations. There's only so much uh, information that you can put out about Disney parks and that people will just consistently read.
Mm,
Point where I know exactly what I'm going to do each week, finding the time to write the blogs and do all the graphics and things that need to go with it, and then using that content to create other content for the rest of the week. So it's really just the time issue has been my biggest thing because now that I kind of know what I'm doing, it's just writing it out is the biggest deal.
yes, for sure. And I feel like time is such a huge thing that people take for granted in our day to day. And I mean, like working a full time job, like that's 40 plus hours a week that you're putting energy into, someone else's business.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time to be taking away from your own business when you're in that build phase. What does that exactly look like for you? So, where do you find the hours? Because I know that after a big day of work, like the last thing I want to do is to be writing a blog or like planning a podcast. But, when you're a solopreneur, it's
Yeah.
just something that you've got to do. It's the difference between making or breaking a business, and I think it's a very important thing. But where on earth do you find the hours?
I don't sleep a lot, I will be honest.
Okay, all right.
But there are some days I can't come home and do anything else. There are some days
Mhm,
I will just sit on the couch and watch a movie when I get home. It's mostly weekends around my commitments with family and things like that.
mhm,
But I generally try and find at least 1 or 2 nights a week that I can come home and just work on something as much as I possibly can, and then try and have at least one day of the weekend that is solely focused on the business.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a reel on Instagram recently, and it's saying and promoting the fact that how about like on your weekend, use that time to build the future that you want for yourself. And I was like,
Mhm.
damn, this speaks to me because, like, I swear I work more on my business on the weekend than I do during the week.
Yep.
It's like, or, and I find sleep hard to get a lot of the time too. And I feel like all of my podcasts have been planned and recorded very late at night or early in the morning, which
Yep.
I wish it wasn't like that. But I mean, it's just what you've got to do. But things will get easier over time. So now that you've got a little bit of like a structure of what things look like, and you've got a rhythm and a routine of how things are going, I want to ask, when did you start your blog, and what has changed now to the way that you blog now?
So, quite a few years ago, I started sort of just writing about what holidays I was going on or had been on. Um,
I think when people start blogging, they start off with the whole like, I went to Thailand and I did
yes.
this and I did that, and oh, look at my new Thailand, because that was me. Wrote a blog about when I went to Thailand, and it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. And then you try and break it up. Um,
Mm.
each day has its own blog, and just to get some content out there.
Yeah, totally.
And then obviously we stopped traveling completely.
Mm. Mm.
And there was no content at all to work with in that respect. So I just had no idea what I was doing. I thought that I would travel a little bit more around the city and a little bit more around WA, but honestly, I did none of that.
But you weren't
Um,
allowed outside of your house, so don't forget
yes,
that. You
that's very true. We weren't allowed to go anywhere. We were out of out of the region.
That's right. The letterbox was the destination.
Exactly. So we just literally couldn't do anything. There was nothing to write about.
Mm.
So honestly, once I started Travel Agent Runway, you gave me some direction of what else I could write about. It
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be all my personal experiences, even though that's great.
Mhm.
It was more about what everybody else might want to read about.
Mhm.
And then I decided that I'd write a little bit more about tips and tricks on making your Disney holiday great or things like that, which is exactly, what I'm here for. So why not write about that
Mhm.
exactly? And then my other bit is filming locations. And if you put them all out in a top 10, then it gives people the inspiration that maybe I want to go and do a tour around Hawaii so that I can see where Jurassic Park was filmed.
Unreal.
So that's a little bit of a spoiler alert. That's the next one.
No, I love that. It's inspiring parts of your life because everyone's watched those movies, and everyone's, and during COVID we watched a lot of
Hmm.
TV, a lot of Netflix, and I don't know about you, but I did revisit quite a lot of those golden oldies and
Yep,
stuff
me
that
too.
came out when I was a kid, like Jurassic Park and all of that. So having the knowledge of knowing where those locations are filmed and having the opportunity to potentially go there and see it for yourself is just such an extraordinary uh, concept and opportunity. I know that when I traveled around New Zealand, I got to stop in at the Hobbiton town.
Hmm. Me
It was a
too.
very fleeting moment because I didn't stay for long. I think I stayed, went and got a meat pie because I was very hungover. And left, but it was a very like misty wintry day. It was very sad and sorry town when I went there, but yeah. Have you been to Hobbiton yourself?
I have. I've done a full tour of New Zealand with
Okay.
Lord of the Rings locations. Yep.
Wow. How cool to see
Yes.
it all firsthand though.
It's amazing. So great.
Unreal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would probably be the only film location that I've been to. So, I look forward to reading your latest blog. When it comes to niche and you being Australia's number one pop culture travel specialist, you didn't know when you first started your travel business that your niche was going to validate as a business, or that your niche was ever going to be heading in the right direction. Um, you just knew deep down that you could cross, your love and passion with what you were skilled at, and that was travel. And for you, I suppose it was going to be a bit of a no brainer. But how did you come to the decision that that niche was going to be the right fit? And how many days, months, years in the making did that process take?
I've done my own trips in the past, and I noticed that there was a distinct lack of real specialized knowledge
Mhm,
about theme parks and filming locations and conventions and things like that. Other places that I've booked through, just they had packages that they were able to sell or whatever, and that was it. There was no real, I mean, everybody gets excited about Disney World and Disneyland and things like that. Everyone gets excited about going to those places, but there wasn't that knowledge, that kind of in depth, because they need to know everything.
mhm,
So I decided that that would be what I did. That was my thing. It's what I'm passionate about. I love theme parks. I love Disney. I love Universal. Everything to do with that. Roller coasters, whatever gets your thrill going, your blood going. So I decided that that was going to be the way that I could help and serve the traveling community. It was a long process to kind of come to the point of deciding to actually open, well, start my own business.
mhm,
I was doing something else before that. And
mhm,
it took a long time for me to decide to come back into the travel industry altogether. But I think that when I decided that pop culture travel was going to be my thing, it was an absolute no-brainer. And that
mhm.
was just, as soon as that sort of popped in my head, it was like, well, of course, why not? That's, of course, that's going to be what I do. And then it just went on from there.
Okay. Yes. So can you zoom in on that moment for us and what that looked like and felt like? Because I remember the moment in COVID that I was going to create an online course, B, not make it for the consumer, but make it for travel agents. Like, I know that clunking feeling, and I know exactly where I was, what I was looking at the time, and the clunk. Like, do you remember that time?
Yeah, yeah. I was actually just having a chat with my mum about everything, about what I wanted to do. I was at a real kind of pivotal point in my
Mhm,
life. I was really just deciding kind of what I was doing. I was coming up on 30, and I just didn't feel like I was in the right space,
mhm.
as I think lots of people do when they hit 29 and they're like, "Oh no, what have I done?"
What
Um,
have I done with my 20s?
yeah, exactly. So I was just kind of having a chat, and I'd been thinking about doing a course to come back into the travel industry, just to because that's what I like doing. And then we were talking about a trip that we were planning to do ourselves, and I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. I This is what I want. Um, and it just kind of felt like the stars aligned, and that was the decision made, and I haven't turned back.
Yes, okay. So once the penny dropped, so to speak, did you get that full rush, like, "Okay, cool, gung ho, let's do this thing, this is what I'm doing," and just straight, like you said,
Yeah.
haven't looked back?
Yeah. Well, the name, the logo, and the website were all done within the week.
Oh, yes.
Because once I get locked on something,
Mm.
I don't stop.
Yeah, no, that's
So
awesome, I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I feel like I can relate to that on so many levels. That's so good, I love that. So once you started inside of Travel Agent Runway, like I know that it was a masterclass that you
Mhm.
attended first off.
Yeah.
At what point during the masterclass did you realize I actually need what this girl's giving me?
Yeah. I think I watched the replay. I don't think I watched it. I was able to watch it live. Maybe I did, but I think about can't remember the exact thing that happened throughout it, but I was just like, this it sounds like this is what I need. I needed to know how to market myself, but I didn't want to do just a marketing course
Mm.
because they're so generic. And there was, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think there was, you were talking about the actual course itself towards the end. And like, I think it was the website critique, I will admit. Because when you make your own website, you're so
Yes.
close to it. And, I've had my mom look at it, friends look at it, and they were like, it's so great. But you don't know whether they're saying what you want them to say or whatever. So I think that that was actually what sold me on it. I will be entirely honest.
No, I love that. And did you have any other expectations before joining the course?
I honestly go into most courses without expectations. I try to keep myself as open as humanly possible
Mhm.
to any kind of education that I possibly can get. I just knew that I wanted a way to kind of break out of the more corporate way of thinking that I had. And I thought, like, just based on that masterclass, that the way that you presented made me definitely think that that was going to help me to do that.
Mhm.
That it was a lot more fun and inviting rather than just going on another TAFE course or something like that. And that's really what I needed at that point in my business, really.
Yeah, I love that. I think there's so many travel agents that can really appreciate that exact same perspective, Jade, because at the end of the day, we know throughout, the whole C word period, the whole
Mhm.
pandemic, just how misunderstood our industry actually is. People don't understand how complex our work is
Yeah.
from the back end to what people see our interaction is with people on the front end.
Yeah.
So I feel like they've got two options. They've got the option of, continuously doing the same thing as that they've always done, and that, using those outdated marketing strategies that no longer serve our industry because we are in a different time, we're in a different space, we're in a different digital era now. There's an entire generation of travel agents out there that are just dying to merge themselves into this new space, but just don't have that know how or permission or confidence even to kind of really like break out of that mold and that, I suppose, like you mentioned, you described it before as like your corporate box, I suppose, stepping out of that and stepping into themselves and being purely them in business and
Yeah.
being recognized and respected and celebrated for just being who you are. So I think there's quite a few people out there that can definitely go, yep, all right. I can relate.
Yeah.
So yes, and it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's definitely one of those things that does take that deep hard work, and like you've done, Jade, over the last 12 months, is that you've put aside time, the little time that you do have to actually action upon that. So definitely love and admire the action that you've taken. What would you look for when it comes to a coach or a mentor? Like, I'm just curious, what type of person would you look for that would assist you through a transformation like the one that you've been through inside of an online course?
Yeah, someone helpful for a start, um, and non-judgmental, because I know that a lot of times that the way that I say things or whatever can come off as excuses when you're just trying to just say why something didn't happen or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, so helpful, non-judgmental, fun. There's nothing worse than someone boring. This industry is not for boring people.
No, definitely not.
Um, so yeah, and honestly, I think that just fun and exciting and inspiring.
Has Travel Agent Runway been a worthy asset to you? Like, do you feel like it's been something that has ultimately transformed your business and taken you from A to B? And if so, what has been the biggest win, the biggest thing you're grateful for, or the biggest realization that you've grown to realize throughout the program? Has it been worth it?
I think so. Yeah, I certainly am a lot further along than I think I would have been on my own. I have got clients, which is great. I've gotten way more interaction on my social media. A lot of people are reading my blog. People are visiting my website, which I just didn't have before,
Mhm,
because they're reading a blog or seeing a social media post, and they are then going for more information and contacting me through there, which is great. And I don't think I would have been able to do that. Well, I may have been able to do it, but it might have taken a lot longer
mhm,
to get out of the mindset I was in before.
mhm,
I was very much a hide behind the name of the business. I used a lot of we, that, like, things like that.
mhm,
But now I'm using a lot more of like me, I, a lot more personal verbiage,
mhm.
and putting my own face out there, which is not something I did before. Introducing myself.
Yes.
So it's I think that has changed. The posts where I say like I and me, instead of just Chatter Travel, they get the most interaction. The more personal posts get more interaction. So I don't think I would have broken out of that as quickly as I have without this course. And honestly, without you, Steph, because you've been amazing.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I don't think it would have gone the way it has this quickly without it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think the thing that I love most about your journey is just you're such a silent achiever, and I think this might be something that's, kind of a track record in your past perhaps, like you are, you put in the man hours, you do the work, but I feel like it may have gone a lot, unnoticed in the past, but now that you're putting that energy and that love and that passion into your own business and you're seeing that return on your investment of, yes, financial for an online course, but B, your energy and time, little time that you have got, and you're seeing that time and energy being mirrored by engagement and connection with ideal clientele and things like that. So that's what I absolutely love, and I think that I've seen a big growth spurt with you this year is literally going from, like, the quiet, silent achiever to this girl who's, like, literally owning her niche. She's, the authority in it. She knows exactly, she's a specialist, and also your confidence has grown, Jade. Like, I
Yes.
mean, from having a business where, like you said, you hid behind the logo, so many can relate to that. I see so many travel agents on Instagram, Facebook, in my own personal circles on Facebook friends and things like that. The logo thing, like people want to see your face.
Yeah.
Please just change a picture.
Yeah.
And it's not it doesn't take a huge thing, but for some people it is such a big thing. And you've just nailed it on the head right there, is that you wouldn't have done that before. But when you're surrounded in people that are on that similar journey to you, like you're inside of a community of other people in so many other businesses and, franchises and things like that, that are all on that exact same journey with you. And it's just so nice to be able to draw that confidence, knowing that you're not the only one on this journey. And it is
Yeah.
a hard one. It's a hard one. It's even a hard one to start. Like when you started Travel Agent Runway, how quickly did you start on the content?
It took ages.
Yeah.
Like, I think I did one or two little things and I was like, I can't do this. Like, why did I
Yes.
do this? I just I don't have anything to draw from. I don't have any clients. I don't have anybody on my mailing list
Mhm.
to even like talk to about all this sort of stuff. I don't know what I want. It took me
Mhm.
ages, but then once it all clicked, I just kept going.
Yeah.
It's
Now look
great.
at you.
Yeah.
What an incredible transformation. I absolutely love your journey. How can people find you online, Jade, if they want to check out your blog, your website, and, stalk all of your social media posts? And if you want to follow Jade online, how can we find you?
I'm at Shadowkiss Travel on Facebook and Instagram, and the website is shadowkissedtravel.com.au, and that's where the blog is as well.
Yay,
Yeah.
cool. And if you are a travel agent listening in on this episode and you are keen to learn more about Jade's journey inside of Travel Agent Runway, feel free to DM her directly. I'm sure she'll be able to, offer her first-hand account of what it's like inside of the program. And any further questions, you can also direct them to me or, email me through or DM me. Thank you so much, Jade, for joining us on the show. It's been so good talking to you, and I'm sure that there's so many travel agents out there that can definitely relate to your journey. And where's the next big stop for Shadowkiss Travel? Like, where are you taking this girl?
Oh gosh, we're focusing on Disney Cruise Lines at the moment. But I'm heading to the US next year, so that is a big thing for me
Mm-hmm.
to, and I've got a few little trips coming up. So there will be a little bit more content, personal content coming up as well.
Lovely. Nice one. Have you got anything cool in the pipeline in regards to any groups?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm
Watch this
hoping,
space.
yeah, watch this space. I've got a couple of ideas. I'm waiting for some info for one big one, Harry Potter related.
Oh, yay.
Um, and then maybe some Disney ones as well.
Okay. Oh, I'm loving
Yeah.
this. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'll
Watch
be
this space.
I'll be keenly watching from the sidelines as normal. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jade. I look forward to looking on and cheering you on and looking forward to just seeing what magic that you continue to create inside of your channel. If you're wanting to download an online version of today's show notes, you can head over to travelbystephanie.com.au/54 on how Jade quickly became the #1 pop culture specialist, fast tracked and relaunched her travel business, all while working a full time job. This Thursday, the 6th of October, I also have a brand new free live masterclass for travel agents, which I show you the exact step by step process on how to create an irresistible personal brand that skyrockets your travel business and positions you as the authority in your niche. I would love to extend an invitation for you to come along. The masterclass is only limited to 50 travel agents, so it's a super exclusive, high touch interactive session with a Q&A at the end. And the best part is that you have a chance to win a spot inside of our flagship online program, Travel Agent Runway. It could be yours, but you have to register now. This will also be the last chance to join the last cohort of Travel Agent Runway for 2022 and get a head start on solidifying your digital marketing strategy ahead of a brand new year. Like I said, guys, there's only 50 spots left in the free live masterclass happening this Thursday night. If you'd love to join me, head over to stephaniemyers.academy/masterclass and secure your spot now. If you are enjoying the podcast, I'd love to hear from you. DM me on Instagram. If you haven't yet subscribed, jump over to your podcast platform of choice. We are now on Audible and Amazon Music, which is amazing. And if you're feeling extra generous, feel free to leave me a 5-star rating and review. Thanks so much. Hope to see you at the masterclass, and I'll see you next week. See ya. Bye.